Matthew Ramsden is one of Australia's best middle distance runners. He has PBs of 3:34 for 1,500 metres, 3:51 for the mile, 7:35 over 3,000 metres, and 13:16 for the 5,000 metres. Fresh off a silver medal over 1,500 metres and a gold in the 5,000 metres at the recent Australian Champs, he caught up with Rambo as he chilled in Perth, preparing for what may well be one of the biggest European campaigns of his career to date. Hey everyone, before we get into this chat with Matthew Ramsden, a word from this week's sponsor. During COVID lockdown in 2020, I turned to an online physio to help me through some issues. So this is a company that I know are great at what they do. If you're struggling with a bone, tendon, or joint-based running-related injury, POGO Physio's 45-minute telehealth consultations can help get you back to your running best. Led by APA-titled sports and exercise physio Brad Beer, the POGO Physio team are ready to help you. Jump over to pogophysio.com.au and book your consult now. We will also have the link to POGO in the show notes. This episode is also brought to you by Tarkine. Tarkine is the first ever Australian-owned running shoe company. They also make the highest quality running apparel. Check them out at tarkine.com and use code RTPodcast at checkout for 10% off your first order. Rambo, good to have you back on Runner's Tribe. It's been years since we've chatted to you. Well done at Nationals, second in the 15, first in the 5,000 with a huge kick down, which I'll get into a bit later. How do you view the weekend? Knowing you, are you upset, that you finished second in the 15, or is it all just a positive weekend for you?
You never like losing, but second place, it's okay. A lot better than how I went last year. I think I came like fifth last year, which is terrible, but just glad that I could finish on a good note and get a win there. Because my plan was if I won the 15, I'd not do the 5, and because I knew I'd be pretty banged up and like late night and stuff. When I lost the 15, I was like, no, I got to do the 5. I'm not getting on the plane, being a bit upset about the race. So it was all right in the end.
The finish of that 15, I mean, how much extra did that motivate you to just kick hard and out-kick Sam in that last 100 metres?
That was my plan all along. I didn't really want the race to be quick. I just wanted to pretty much go kind of hard with 600 to go. And there was actually there was a bit of a stack maybe at the 4K mark, which pushed Isaac Hayne up to the front, and he started pushing it. And I think we went I think he ran like a 62 and then a 61. And then that's when I kind of hit the front after that and then went real hard. I think my last lap was like just under 54, it was like 53 high. I didn't actually know how close Smack was until I could see his shadow on the home straight. So I couldn't really hear him. I thought I had a bit of a gap, and then down the home straight, I saw like another big shadow behind me. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is Smack, not sure. But so I knew I had to pick up change gears again and get going.
I know you and Ollie Hall kind of grew up a little bit racing around each other, and there's a healthy rivalry there, I think. And are you guys in touch a lot? Are you mates, or is it more, do you just see each other on race day?
We don't talk at all, really. We just, when we have to race each other, and we'll chat at meets like a bit. But because growing up, he was in Sydney, I was in Perth. With the time difference, and also just when you're young, you don't really use social media as much. So we've never really been super close, but it's definitely a healthy relationship, because there was a period where I was a lot better than him. Then he came past me and he was a lot better than me. Then I came back past him, and now he's gone a bit ahead of me again. So this season I got to come back ahead of him, and then we'll just keep going like that probably until the end of our careers. So it's a healthy relationship in that sense.
Rambo, let's just rewind 12 months. This time 12 months ago, Jai Edwards was hot. Stewie was at his best. Ollie was running damn well. And you're number 4 in line. Now Jai's injured at the moment. Stu's had a few little issues, but I know he's coming back. Ollie's still there. And so you've kind of moved from number 4 to number 2. And these are the sort of doors that fly open in elite sport. And do you feel as though this is kind of the opening you need, your kind of chance to get to the Worlds and to Commonwealth Games and have that year that a lot of us have been kind of calling, and that's going to happen, for many years now. But do you feel like it's now your time to get out there and drop some bombs?
I feel like all you can do is, like, with this sport, as you know, like what you've just said, it just like athletes come and go. Not saying those two guys aren't gone, but like opportunity, like doors open, doors close, and you just got to, through all of it, you just got to worry about yourself. Because if you have yourself ready, like as often as you can be ready, you'll be ready to take those opportunities. So it's not a matter of like, oh, the door's open, I've got to go harder now. It's just a matter of the door's open, I'm ready to go kind of thing. So I think the best way to answer that question is you just got to always worry about yourself, and just try and improve yourself. That's how you're going to go to the next level.
Where to from here? Obviously, you're going to head overseas. When will that be? What races has Nick got you penciled down for? Obviously, we know the goal is Worlds, and in mid-July, I think, and then Com Games end of July. But what's going to happen between now and that and those goals?
Well, Nick keeps the plan pretty close to his chest. He doesn't really let the athletes know until a couple of weeks before. But I know I'm definitely doing pre-classic, which is later on in May, or might be early June. I'm doing the 2 mile there, and I'm doing the 1500 at Birmingham Diamond League. I'm not too sure about Doha yet. That's a maybe. I'll just see how training's going in that, and then after that, I honestly don't know, because kind of depends how your first few races go, what you want to look at doing after that. And also for me, a big thing is if I'm going to get selected in the 1500, because if I get a sense that the selectors aren't going to take me, I've got to start running more 5Ks and 3Ks again.
So I'm taking from this that Leonora is off the cards this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of my favourite races. It's like one of those rare Perth races that is like a big one and everyone marks on their calendar. So, yeah, unfortunately, I can't go, but I've got a few guys I coach that hopefully will go. So, yeah, I'll be watching anyway.
Maybe we need to see if some of these mining companies can just get you a private jet, straight to Leonora and then back to Europe.
I don't know if they're going to waste their money on that.
Mate, I remember Runners Tribe interviewed you years ago, right after you decided to turn your back on college and stay put in Australia. Like, looking back and assessing, say, on one hand, what guys like Ollie have done, on the other hand, what guys like Stu have done, are you at peace with that decision? Do you feel like it was the right one?
All in all, I think it's the right decision for me, yeah, because it's an individual decision, really. Like I struggle giving advice to other athletes because I don't know what they're like unless I know them pretty well and I know the school they're going to. I can't really say it's just like where you're going to be happy for 4 to 5 years of your life, because what really matters is if you're happy in a good environment. Because I've seen guys that have gone over and taken the opportunity, but they just haven't been happy there. The school's been great, but something hasn't clicked right, and they've just gone backwards with running. Like, they were running just as shit as they were when they were 16. So, and then there's other guys like Ollie and Morgan, obviously, who like they thrived over there in that environment. So it kind of just depends on the individual, and also a lot on like how you're training and what you're used to doing in training.
You're a guy that loves being around home. How do you find the travel and spending months on end in Europe? Does it get to you, or do you love it?
It's last year, 2020 and last year was really good because I was with Stewie most of the time, and it was a small group. It was like me, Stewie, Ben Buckingham, Dave McNeil, and Grego. So I like it when it's like a small group. Sometimes when I'm with like a lot of people, gets a bit annoying at times, but yeah, honestly, you just get used to it. I've been doing it since I was 18 now. So the first few years was tough. Like, I'd get to halfway through the trip and I'd be pretty much mentally fried. But now I feel like I'm getting all the way through and I feel pretty good. So, yeah, I think it's like getting a lot easier as I get older, and you learn little tricks to keep your mind like focused on what you got to do as well.
Correct me if I get some of these dates wrong. In late kind of 2020, you were dropping some super fast time trials in Perth, pretty much all by yourself. You had some of the local boys here pace you and all that. And then, I might be a bit wrong here, but we felt that maybe the 2021 season, you seemed just a little bit flat early on, and then you started coming good at the very end. Is that accurate? All that sort of stuff. Do you feel like you cooked yourself a bit early? How do you view all that?
Yeah, I know you're trying to not hurt my feelings, but I know it's shit 2021. Like, honestly, like, so I went and saw a doctor after the season. I got diagnosed with chronic fatigue. And I think I tried real hard to get the qualifier early, in Perth in 2021, and I got it. And I was in good shape. And then I got a few sicknesses and trained through, which I shouldn't have, and then ran poorly at nationals. Kept trying to push through. And then I was trying to run like 5Ks, which when you're a little tired and you're trying to like push through 5K training, trying to do 5Ks, it's just a little bit more wear and tear on the body. And I think I just dug myself into a hole. Then somehow I still don't know to this day how I got out of that hole. I went to St. Moritz and I was training with Stewie. Like I was pretty much Stewie's like pacing bitch. I was like doing like just everything he did. Everyone else in the group was on 2 sessions a week. I was just like, stuff it. I'm not making the team. I'll try get in decent enough shape and train with Stewie, and just help him get ready for the Olympics. So yeah, I was doing 2 long runs a week and 3 sessions, and somehow like I came out the other end and ran 3:34 low in Houston, almost beat Abel Kipsang, who came 4th at the Olympics. And I also ran 7:35 in Gateshead. So I was like, shit, I must be out the hole. I had a couple other okay performances. Like I ran a 3:55 mile like on my own in a meet in London when the Olympics was on. And then I ran okay in pre-classic, like pretty bad. I came last in that race, but the time and everything considered, it probably wasn't terrible compared to the other results I had in the season. But then I think after that, my body just kind of like shut down. It was like I couldn't keep fighting on. I kept trying and I kept going for another like 6 weeks, but none of the results were any good. And I ended up getting sick again in Italy when I had a few races. And yeah, so that was pretty much the end of my 2021. Like only had the whole year, probably only had about four good performances. So yeah, it just shows like how wrong you can get it some years trying too hard.
There's so many armchair critics out there, hey, that like just say, oh, he cooked himself, he did this, he did that. But it's good to chat to you and just actually figure out, there's so much going on behind the scenes and no one really hears about other than you and Nick and your parents and stuff. So yeah. My next question was about that 3:34 in Houston, but I think you've already answered it. But when you went back to that base work with Stu and you was kind of pacing bitch for a while, how many weeks of that was it?
So honestly, I think it was only like 4 weeks, maybe even 3, maybe only 3 weeks. I just needed like a bit of time to regulate my body. So yeah, like I don't know if you've ever had chronic fatigue, but it pretty much feels like you can't get your heart rate high enough before your body starts fatiguing. So you can't. It's like your body's like trying to protect your heart from your heart rate going too high, kind of thing. So I was just jogging real slow, doing real basic stuff, trying to get like strong in the gym, just trying to get my body like back used to running fast. And allowing it to run fast. So I just did that, like pretty basic training, nothing out of the ordinary. Slept a lot. Like,
gotcha. So the 2 sessions you were doing a week, despite the chronic fatigue signs, were you banging those, or were you just kind of running 70-80%?
Nah, I couldn't. Like I was thresholding at like, it was at altitude. I was thresholding at like 320 kilometer pace. But I think the thing that saved me was just being able to be in one spot for a period of time where I could sleep a lot, get like really good wholesome food, and just training like in a routine. You know, when you got a lot of races on, you're training, but it's sometimes interrupted training and you might be a little sore here and there. And then the sleep isn't great. Sometimes you got to eat airport food and stuff like that. So just having 3 to 4 weeks, I think that's what saved me for a little while. And yeah, like so pretty much the day before I ran that 1500, that was when Andrew Fakeney from AA called me and said, yeah, sorry, mate, you're not getting named on the team. We'll put you down as a reserve in the 1500. But he didn't put me as a reserve in the 5K. And after what happened with Pat, I actually could have gone and raced the 5K there. But whatever.
Yeah. It was missing the Olympics. Like, I mean, you've been through a lot, but would you say that's kind of the low point of your career so far?
It was definitely like a tough time, but at the end of the day, like you're still just a human being. Like, yeah, it means a lot, but there's more to life than running one meet. And like it's cliche saying, I've worked for this my whole life. But really, like you work your whole life to become like the best athlete you can be. So like, I don't know if you listened to For the Kudos, but when they had Charlotte Purdue on there, and after she spoke about how she missed out on the Olympics, like to me, her situation was a lot worse than mine. Yeah. But listening to that was really good for me, because the way she said it, she was like, they asked her at the end of the podcast, so are you still keen on going to the Olympics? And she said, honestly, like after what all I've been through, like trying to get there, I've realized it doesn't even matter. She's like, it caused me so much like heartache that like to her, she doesn't give a shit anymore. Like I'm a bit different. I still want to go. And obviously she still wants to go, but I don't think I was like as torn up as she was. For her, it was like really unfortunate.
So when you're in a training camp in St. Maurice with Stu, who does the cooking?
we alternate. We go on like groups. So I think it was like me, Stu, and Ben Buckingham. Because Dave's vegan. So we didn't eat a whole lot with Dave. Every now and then he'd offer, but we like to get some good protein in.
Is anyone just like an awful cook out of the three?
Yeah, all three of us. There's no one good at cooking.
You have a bit of a training group these days. I'm not sure, like, do you class yourself as a coach these days as well?
Yeah, definitely. I got like a group of maybe 15, 16 athletes here in Perth that I coach. I just needed when I knew I was going to be in Perth a lot longer, I knew I needed a group that was going to be here for me when I'd come back. And so I've got probably about 12 boys, 3 girls, and they're all different different levels. There's like 3 or 4 of them that are good enough to like help me in sessions, and then the rest they're kind of just trying to improve themselves, and they got other races. I had a junior run at the Nationals. His name's Kai Hare. He came 3rd in the under 17 1500 and 2nd in the 3K. So he's probably our best like up and comer. And Luke Burrows as well. He's gone to Leonora. He'll do well there. So those are the 2 like big names to look out for.
And so how does it work? Like, are you setting individual sessions and, programs for all of these athletes, or is it more of a standardized kind of system?
No, it's individualized, like in terms of their program leading forward to a race, because some of them are trying to get ready for half marathons. Some are more focused on like 15s and 8s kind of thing. So it's an individualized program, but it's all off Nick Bedeau's philosophy. So there's not that much discrepancy between like the sessions we do. So like the track workouts we do, there'll be very small differences between like what the 800 guys will do and what the like 10K guys will do. So the only thing I really do differently is the threshold for them, and they don't train very hard on Saturdays because they're not quite at the level that they can like whack themselves for three days a week.
Gotcha. I'm going to get back to that in a sec, but what's going on behind the scenes with you? I mean, you're pretty busy. You've got 15, 18 athletes, whatever, that you're looking after. You've got your career and you're studying too, right? Is it law that you study?
Yeah, I'm studying law, but I only do like two units a trimester. So, and sometimes if it's too hectic, like last year during the middle of the year, I was only doing 1 unit, and then I do summer school when I'm back in Oz, like during the Christmas period. So I'll do like 2 or 3 units then just to catch up. But I'm on my last like 5 units now, so should be done soon.
And is it so this is obviously, you don't have to go to campus, right? It's all remotely?
Nah. Yeah, it's all online at Deakin, and they're pretty good. Like COVID saved me a bit because you don't have to go in to do the exams. But when like pre-COVID, I'd have to get an exemption from the like athletics director to let me go and sit somewhere else and do the exam.
Cool. Hey, let's just get back to the training. Like, for those trainings being documented that many times, I don't want to bore people and go over that, but I think it was really enjoyable watching your last 800 of the 1500 because Ollie didn't beat you by much, right? Like it was pretty close, and I think your last 800 was 149 low maybe, which is pretty damn good. And then the last lap of the 5000 was 53, right? And so, yeah. I mean, it's great to see what sort of, I guess I put some feelers out there with some mates. I kind of want to know what sort of specific work do you do just like at the end of a 1K rep session or at the end of a whatever threshold? Are you whacking in some faster reps after those sessions, or are you doing standalone sessions where you're kind of focusing on your speed?
Honestly, I don't think I ran that pace. Like I didn't run a 53. I didn't run quicker than like 56 at all from October to whenever nationals was. Like I don't even know if Nick prescribed anything harder than a 58. I think I just ran a 56 one day, so in training because I was feeling good. But yeah, like to answer your question, we do a lot of change of pace work on Tuesdays. So we'll do like, for example, a 3K rep, and the 3K will go like start off in 70s, and we'll run a couple of like 68s, then get quicker 64, 62s, that kind of thing. Or we'll do 2Ks with like the middle 2 laps a bit harder. We might run like 62s, and then the others are just 70s, that kind of thing. But no, we never really spike up. And when we do, it's if we're getting ready for like a bigger race in Europe or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are like, always ask how often I spike up. Me and Stewie never. Some people spike up more than us. Like Grego used to like to spike up, and I know Geordie did a bit in training, but I haven't trained with Geordie in a while, so I don't know if Nick still does that with some of the shorter distance guys.
Is every session you do, like it's all written by Nick, right? Like every day is just outlined by Nick. Is that accurate?
So yeah, he tells me what to do on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, and then pretty much the rest we fill in the gaps ourselves, but he'll like monitor it and tell us if we're doing a little too much or if we need to do a little more. And obviously it's a given, you got to do 2 to 3 gym sessions a week, got to do like plyometrics and hurdles, that kind of thing. But he gives us a bit of freedom to do that, fill in the gaps there.
Gotcha. And so this gym work, like I think you just said 3 gym sessions a week. What do you have a specific gym coach that works on this, or do you just have exercises that you think are the best, and you just do those?
No, I've got a gym coach. I used to go to Waste and do gym there, but now I've got a guy that I coach. He's got a gym like real close to my house, and he's a personal trainer. So he gives me my program, and the thing is, like, when you've had so many injuries like me, pretty much like a quarter of your session is always going to be prehab shit. So it's really, I only try to be in there for no more than like an hour. and 15 minutes of it is like doing Achilles work, calf work stuff. So yeah, it's not too much he has to fill in.
So you I remember a few years ago at Nationals, you tore your plantar in a heat. So is that an example of one injury that you need to
Yeah. I've torn my Achilles on my right leg once. I've torn my plantar on my left, and I've stuffed my Achilles on my left as well a couple of seasons ago. I don't know if it was torn, but there was someone real bad with it.
Man, bloody Achilles, hey. Everyone gets
it's always lower leg injuries.
Yeah. Hey, a few years ago, I was chatting to you and you had a pretty busy schedule because you were working, I think you had two jobs, like you're working in Frio, doing something, and then I forget, but
yeah.
Do you still do all that shit, or have you toned it back and it's just running?
Nah, it was like started 2020, I completely quit all like the other jobs, and just that was when I was getting closer to the end of my degree as well. And I got a new contract with Nike, so I was like, I should probably start like focusing just on running and putting everything into that. So yeah.
I've got a question about Gregson because guys of my generation, Gregson was the bomb. He still is the bomb as far as I'm concerned, but he just he's been around dropping bombs for that long now. And you were lucky enough to come in at a time when he was still running, not at his best. I don't think he'd be angry at me for saying that, but he wasn't far off. Like, he was still running freaking good. How good was it? You got Stu these days, I know, but how good was it having Gregson back then to show you the ropes, to show you what it takes, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I'd say Gregson was like one of the biggest influences in my career, because when I came to MTC, I think it was my first camp with them was end of 2016. He'd just come off the Rio Olympics, so he was in like probably prime of his career then, I'd say. He ran 3:31 when he was like 20 or whatever, but he was like consistently running fast now and competing well, and competing for like the top positions in the world. So I'd say he was in his peak then, but he took me under his wing and taught me all the gym stuff I needed to know, taught me like kind of how to fill in the gaps, like what I was mentioning with all the other easy runs and the other 1%ers. Stewie kind of had Brett to help him, because Stewie back then was more like 5K and I was 15. So Grego helped me. And I've also lived with Grego a lot. Like, I used to live with him in Sandringham every Australian summer, and then go overseas and live with him and Jen over in Teddington as well. So he's done a lot for me, and I've got a lot to thank him for.
Quickly, just the training. Everyone just wants to know about your bloody training, right? We question, just because you brought it up before, your threshold work that you do. Is that like what are you doing at the moment? I know Gregson loves his half an hour thresholds. Is that about where you're at? And is it one, is that, yeah.
Yeah, we always do like 10 to 12K worth of threshold. I don't think MTC does anything. Well, we are a little bit different in the sense that we just do continuous running, but it's still just like basic threshold work. There's no real, honestly, like, I wish I could tell you there was some sort of secret, but there's no secret with what we do. Yeah. It's like real boring stuff. The biggest thing is we just do the same kind of work week in, week out, and it just accumulates into like good fitness. Some people wouldn't respond well to it. I don't reckon Jai would probably respond well, because he trains so differently to us. But I think Ollie would probably be pretty similar to what we do over there. So he might just spike up a lot more than us. That's the only difference.
Hey, just getting back to the Gregson question just quickly. How the lifestyle of Grego, like, is he, I know you've met so many athletes over the years. Is he, how good is his day-to-day 1%ers? Like, does he sink a beer at night with dinner and all that sort of stuff? Like, what did you take from him, living with him? What did you learn about all that stuff? He was way more into the 1%ers than like anyone I've ever met. He's like almost a bit of a head case for that stuff. Like,
he's got this thing on his phone where he's got like 100 exercises. He calls it floor routine. And he'll do like every night, he'll just make sure he ticks off like 10 exercises. So he'll just randomly, he'll be in like his PJs or whatever and start doing some like calf raises or whatever. And I can hear him upstairs. I got the middle room at Nick's place in Teddington, and I can hear him and Jen upstairs. I can hear him start doing like calf raises, and I can hear Jen like doing whatever she's doing up there as well, other exercises. So yes, that's like one example. But honestly, he does like a beer after a race, and yeah, he's just like a normal guy, but he's real pedantic about making sure he can be the best athlete he can be. But so yeah, all those 1%ers, he'll tick it off.
Do you, on just a light note, do you ever have a beer on a weeknight at home with dinner, or is it just strictly to celebrate after a big race?
No, I'm not I don't come from a big like alcohol drinking family. So yeah, there's no beer at our house. When I'm training heavy, I don't really drink that much, but when I'm in Europe, like after a race, it's like just polite and social. You go out, have a beer, and I'll never turn down just like a beer here and there if I'm just socializing. But I'm just not really a big beer drinker.
And is Stu? I think people find this sort of stuff interesting. You know, just behind the scenes, is Stu as I'm not going to call Gregson OCD, but you know, like is he? Is Stu as kind of particular and into the 1%ers as Grego sounds like he is?
Nah. Stewie's pretty similar to me. Like we're pretty similar in that sense. Like Stewie's same. Like I don't think he's a huge beer drinker. He'll just do it for like social occasions. And he's pretty good with his gym, just like me. Like we'll do 2 to 3 gym sessions a week, but we both don't like being in there that long. Whereas Grego will make sure he's in there he'll tick off every single exercise, make sure it's all done. We might just do like what's required to get us like injury free, keep us injury free, and yeah, that kind of thing. So, but Stewie's diet has improved a lot. When I first met him, we both were young. We had no idea about what we should be eating and shouldn't, and we both kind of like bounced off each other and learned from Grego and Jen and Brett a little bit, just what we should be eating. So he's completely like cut chocolate out of his diet now. But he'll still have lollies. He's just said he'll make the decision, lollies or chocolate, and he chose lollies. So it's like one of the things he's done.
I was on a run the other day, catching up with someone, and they were saying that they were surprised how well you're running because you've been based in Perth. And I think there's like this like misconception maybe that you can't do well when you're living in Perth and blah, blah, blah. Like, I think you kind of proved that's complete bullshit. That, like, do you agree?
Yeah, I think what's wrong with Perth is the culture's wrong. Like, we've got so many good, like, young, talented runners, but no one wants to work together. So that's the main issue. When you get a group like I have with some of the best guys in the state all working together and they're all dedicated to like making themselves better, everyone's going to improve. We got really good running here. You got an abundance of grass fields. You got hills out in Helena Valley and out in the Perth Hills. So we got everything you need, but it's just, yeah, people don't want to work together, or they may be a bit ignorant to what training is. The best guys in Australia are doing. They're too stuck in their own ways. And
why aren't they working together, do you think? Like, is it the fact that I don't think do you charge for your coaching? No. That's what I thought. Like, is it because people are running businesses these days and they're very territorial of their athletes because it's bringing in revenue and all that shit? Or is it because, I don't know, people just think they know better than everyone else? Like, why do you think people don't get together, like what you're saying?
It's, yeah, probably that. There's also a lot of like parent coaches in Perth, and they don't want to let go of their kids, which I understand. But if you want what's best for your kids, you got to push them out the nest. You know what I mean? But the other thing with Perth is we got the highest population of millionaires per capita. Actually, not even per capita, just the highest population of millionaires out of any other city in the world. So look at the upbringing of these kids coming up, like they're wrapped in bubble wrap. There's no one really faces hardship here. So they don't like being told what's wrong with them. They only like being told what they're good at. So they don't like criticism. And you can't be a good distance runner when you're racing like Kenyans who are fighting for like bloody like mud huts and shit. Like that's just an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Like
right?
Africans are desperate. You can't show any weakness in this sport.
Rambo, personal question, but your upbringing and your life, you know, as a kid, what did something happen in your upbringing that instilled that sort of toughness and desperation that you need to be an elite runner, or were you just born that way?
I was born in South Africa, so like everyone knows about the stuff that went on there. But we immigrated to New Zealand, my family, and then we got citizenship there, and then moved to Perth. So my parents always worked hard, and we were always fine with money. But you just gotta, I don't know, when you move around so much, you got to be able to adapt to situations fast. And I was always came from a working class family, but always like lived a good life. There was nothing there. I think I just came from a good upbringing where my parents weren't afraid to tell me if I was doing something wrong, or they'd give me a slap on the ass if I was misbehaving, kind of thing. But I just see like a few things like teenagers nowadays are just don't show the same respect that I would have back in the day. I sound like such an old prick saying that, but
man, you should get sometimes stuck.
yeah, you know what I mean though. I just think it's things like that are holding the distance runners back in Perth right now.
Happy days, mate. Rambo, love having you on Runners Tribe, and I think you've got another 5 weeks in Perth to get out to Helena and get to McGillivray and just punch up that fitness before you head off. And good luck overseas this year, mate. It's a big year. I know that the 2 championships, Worlds and Coms. I mean, it probably suits you well that they're close together, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's pretty good, and the season will go pretty quick with the championship in the middle now. So should be short and sweet.
Awesome, man. Okay, take care of yourself. Stay healthy, and we'll chat to you later on.
Cheers, Sam. Yep. Thanks, heaps.